Hi everybody, it's Michelle from LWT. I'm going to be doing a review of the Harvest Moon Light of Hope game today. Harvest Moon Light of Hope is the newest release in the Harvest Moon series, and for anyone not familiar with this series, it's a popular mesh of a farming and a dating simulation game, where you work to revive a neglected farm through growing crops, mining ores, and raising livestock. At the same time, you're also making friends in the town and ultimately have the option to pursue a bachelor or bachelorette to marry. Harvest Moon Light of Hope was published and developed by Natsume, and released for PS4 and Switch last month. I played the Switch version. Before getting into the game, I want to touch quickly on some of the history of the development behind the game. Marvelous, who made the original Harvest Moon series, started their own North American publishing division called Xseed, and left their previous publisher Natsume without their flagship franchise. Natsume still owned the Harvest Moon name though, so they started developing a new Harvest Moon series in 2007 which still used the same name. These games are released in North America, Europe, and Australia, but not in Japan. While Marvelous Games had to change the name of their game series to Story of Seasons for those regions. While Story of Season is the true successor to the Harvest Moon legacy, the newer Harvest Moon titles have struggled to live up to their namesake. Getting into Light of Hope, it was originally released on PC on November 14, 2017, which was a first for any Harvest Moon or Story of Season title. The special edition was released on May 29, 2018 for Switch and PS4, making it the first Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons game to come out on console since Harvest Moon Animal Parade. The game's release coincides with the 20-year anniversary of the Harvest Moon series. After two failed attempts to update the series with new mechanics that they thought would help differentiate the titles from the Japanese ones, Light of Hope goes back to the basics and draws inspiration from the first Harvest Moon title, which came out on SNES. Harvest Moon Light of Hope takes place in a harbor town. You're shipwrecked by a storm and washed ashore in a town that has been essentially deserted. The doctor lighthouse attendant rescues you, and your goal becomes to revive the lighthouse and rebuild the town so that the previous residents will return. The game features new characters, but also sees some characters return from Natsume's previous games in the series, The Lost Valley and Skytree Village. This is an interesting idea for the series, since it adds something to tie the games together, and could become more interesting as more games in the series are released. The focus in Light of Hope is building back up the town around the lighthouse. The town restoring system provides an interesting progression system updated from Skytree Village. You know what materials you need to fix up each building, so that sets out your tasks. And as you fix up buildings, the old residents come back to the town. This provides a really interesting pacing for the narrative. It allows you to meet new characters more slowly than usual, so you can get to know each one better, and it has a good feeling of seeing a community come to life. Since certain residents have requests and services, it's a good way for the game to open up as you get further into it. With the series going back to its roots, Natsume drops the experimental terraforming gameplay that really hurt the previous title. The gameplay is much more like a traditional Harvest Moon. You have the traditional farming elements, you prepare the soil, plant and water seeds, and then collect your crops. Weather elements can affect your crops, and there's a new game mechanic that allows for random crop mutations, which you can influence later on with different types of fertilizer. By upgrading your tools, you can also till and water multiple plots of land at a time. As you unlock more of the map, there are also different types of land to farm on, which allows for new crops and mutations. When you look at the information for a specific type of seed, along with the season it grows in, it'll also tell you what type of land it thrives on. Mining has also returned to this title. When you unlock the mine, there are 100 floors to explore, so upgrading your hammer will make a big difference as you explore deeper into the mine. Similarly, you'll want to upgrade your axe to chop down hardwood trees as the game progresses, to gather materials for restoring bridges and buildings. Foraging and fishing remain the same. As you explore the forest and shoreline around your farm, you can find items to forage and places to fish once you've obtained a fishing rod. Raising livestock is still a big part of the farming gameplay. Once you repair your chicken coop in your barn, you can adopt chicken, cows, sheep, donkeys, and a horse. They require daily affection, on top of being brushed, fed, and they'll give you produce once your friendship meter is high enough, ranging from eggs, milk, fur, or wool. More animals become available later in the game as you progress through the story. You can also adopt a dog and later a bobcat as a pet. Socializing and dating is the other big aspect of the Harvest Moon titles. In Light of Hope, you have the option to play as a young man or a young woman, and you can marry and have a child in this game. There's still no option for a same-sex relationship. Natsumi has said those will be introduced when the time is right. This game has 5 bachelors and 5 bachelorettes you can interact with, as well as 2 additional bachelors and bachelorettes you can add through DLC. As these possible partners gain more affection for you, you'll unlock 4 note event cutscenes. In addition to talking to them, you can give villagers 1 gift daily to increase your friendship level. This game also has introduced a special request system, as I mentioned before, that allows villagers to ask you for specific items. Completing these requests will also increase your friendship level. Each villager has favorite items and least favorite items. Luckily, there's no penalty for giving someone an item they hate, though. Once you've maxed out someone's affection and seen all 4 cutscenes, you can begin collecting the required items to get married. Light of Hope also introduces some new festivals, including a dog racing festival, as well as a brand new 2-player mode you can unlock, where a friend can help you on your farm once a day. In the 2-player mode, you have the option to request help for free, or by exchanging a gem, which you would mine from the mine. Without a gem, your partner will have 2 hearts worth of endurance, and will no longer be able to farm with you once that is spent. Trading a gem to request help will add more hearts to their meter. While in 2-player mode, your partner has to stay on the same screen as you. If you move too far away, they will be transported to your side. While moving around your farm, your partner can help feed, pet, bathe, and collect produce from your livestock. They can also clean compost. In your field, they can pull up weeds, harvest your crops, and till the ground. They can also plant random seeds, not from your inventory, but from whatever's available for that season, and water plots in a 3x3 grid. This is especially great if you haven't bought all of the available seeds yet. There's a chance your partner will randomly plant something you haven't grown yet. Although depending on how well organized you like your farm, that might be a negative point for you. You can also venture away from your farm with your partner. They can help chop down trees and break rocks, but only up to the same size you can currently manage. So if you haven't upgraded your tools, they can't break larger rocks or cut down hardwood trees for you. They can also help dig up seashells on the shoreline and fish. I think the 2-player aspect is a very interesting new feature. In theory, I can see a lot of potential in it if it were developed more, but as it is right now, it's not really worth the gems to me. I like the efficiency of my partner watering and sowing 9 seeds at a time, and I love the randomness of the seeds and that they don't come from my own inventory. But I wish there was more flexibility for me to leave the area and to work on other farm tasks while the second player is doing those chores. It really detracts from the usefulness of the feature when I have to stand there overseeing and getting in the way. Like the previous games in the series, the art style in this game is more cartoonish than Story of Seasons. And while I don't mind it that much, the quality of graphics here is a huge letdown. Everything just looks really rough. It looks like a 3DS game with blurry graphics and a lot of jagged edges. It's bearable during the typical gameplay, but when the camera moves in for a cutscene, it really stands out. The art style could actually look pretty good if the graphics were clearer. I'd love something that was more cel-shaded, like an evolution of the Save the Homeland style, since that could allow them to design the game in a way that's simple but still looked really good. Overall, though, I'm happy with the changes in the game, particularly after the disappointment of Skytree Village. I love that they've gone back to the basics and given us a really charming, fun game that takes steps towards living up to the previous titles in the series. It's not quite there yet, but I did enjoy the game a fair bit, so they're definitely moving in the right direction. If they continue to build more on some of the ideas here, do more work on the graphics in particular, the next Harvest Moon game could be pretty good. Most fans of Story of Seasons won't check out this game on principle, but if Stardew Valley has taught us anything, it's that competition is good in this genre. So I recommend checking this game out if my reviews interested you, and keep an open mind for the future. So thank you for checking out my review. Mike and I are always doing more, so please subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to talking to you again. Bye!